How you guys doing? This is Neil, the art instructor at masterpaintingnow.com and top art instructor on Udemy, and best-selling author of How to Draw Awesome Figures, which you can find on Amazon. Just look up at on Amazon, Neil Fontaine. I'm going to show you guys here how to properly draw the backside. These aren't my drawings. These are our students' drawings from my anatomy course, I believe. And so I just want to correct a few for the student, and also that you guys can learn from it as well. And how to see errors you might be making, and then how to correct those errors. Now, well, I won't be going into the 3/4 views right now. I've done the other videos on that, and those are the hardest to learn, and so it takes time. But first is to get the front views correctly. Now, the mannequin here is fine, and so the main thing you want to remember, and I want to do this for the front view so that you know it for the side view as well, is that when you're drawing the front view, first, let's go ahead and just kind of draw a basic head here. We'll draw the basic rib cage, neck area. Keep it all thin. Now here's where I want to draw. I want to draw this like female like skirt type thing here. I'm going to show a trick here I think you'll find helpful. I'm going to just go ahead and draw that all the way down now to the halfway part of the knees. Making my character have a little bit longer legs. Right now, cool trick here. So obviously, like before, you divide this in half from the shoulder to the wrist. And that's right where, and you can see that it you know, I've been doing this long enough that I can just like eyeball it, and so I had my ribcage right where I needed it to be. Next thing though that's really important is where this comes down, not very far. Like you can kind of like even draw the ribcage to like a point like that or something down the middle line right here, something like this right here. And then anyway, right around that halfway part between there, right about here is where the ribcage is going to end. So it's a little bit below that, and that's where the belly button is. Now, once you know where the belly button is at, you can have your rib cage, and it kind of flows right into where that belly button's at, right about here. That's where the end, the rib cage is going to come, right about there like that. I'm going to have the widest part of the rib cage up here, like so. This is how it's going to be. Collarbones, neck. Right, anyway. Once you have that part figured out, there's a section that starts right there about where that belly button is at. I'm actually going to make the belly button a little bit lower, because once you have this right here figured out, right that part right there, that's where the belly button is going to be. So I'm just going to kind of draw the belly button right there. Now, if you imagine this being like a one shape like that, and then connecting to another shape, now this connects to your kind of like mini skirt shape, right? That I've taught before. The widest part being right here at the crotch, and the crotch is at the halfway point between the top and bottom of the figure, depending on what kind of figure you're drawing, but that's the realistic way. And that's the widest part, so you'll have the widest part of the leg come out right here. And the reason why that is because that's where the femur bone, connected to the hip bone, which comes up like this, comes out and hits that edge of the leg right there and pushes out the widest. Alright, gone through this before, but this pertains to the back side. So this is important to understand from the front side so you can get the back side correctly, because the back side is almost identical. Right, once you have that idea figured out, the next thing is, we're going to zoom in here on this part. If you take from where the belly button is at and where the crotch is at and divide that in half, that gives you perfectly where your hips are going to be. That's where the hip bone right here, iliac crest, sticks out. And you can actually see it on thinner women. And this just gives you two different humps of fat that you'll have on the body. The first one starts here. It connects like this. Boom, that's the first hump of fat, and this is the second hump of fat. And that second hump of fat comes all the way down into the leg itself. So you got this first hump of fat here, and second hump of fat. And there's different ways that women wear their panties. Typically, though, women wear their panties and bikinis right here on this section. So if they're going to wear panties, that's where they would be at, or if they're going to wear some sort of bikini, that's where they'd be at, most likely. Now, there are different styles. Now you have low-rider pants and high-rider pants. There's typically just two places where pants will fit on. Either they're going to fit right here, These are the low rider pants. This right here would be the crotch, very small zipper area, pockets, so forth, right? What's becoming popular again, and I don't know why, because they were never very cool to begin with, is pants that fit way up here. This is back in the 80s, and watch a lot of 80s films and you'll see this being popular. And that's where the pants fit up in the crotch would have this long zipper. But those are the two probably best places, most comfortable places for a woman to wear pants. It'd be kind of weird to wear pants right here on this fatty area above the hips. So anyway, although it might look cool for the pants to be there. Let me click back here and let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. Okay. Now let's go ahead and just turn this to a backside because we can easily do that. And that's what's cool about working digitally. You can also do this if you're working with pencil and paper as well, though. Just trace right over it with another piece of paper. An easy way to make a light board is just take a bright CFL bulb, put it underneath a piece of glass, and voila. Or you can fit it inside of a box and then put a piece of glass over the box. You can probably buy a piece of glass at many different places. You can buy it at a craft store or just, piece of even plexiglass, whatever you need. But anyway, you might even have a piece of glass already hanging out. Now, from the back end, everything's the same as far as ribcage and all that kind of stuff goes. The things that are different with mannequin that you want to keep in mind is when you have this bottom portion here, the mannequin. So we saw the back. Now, keep in mind that the ribcage, if all you're drawing is a ribcage, it kind of is shaped like this from the back end as well. And so you can keep that the same. Now, if we look at the student's drawing, this is a mannequin and not a skeleton. And notice he has this bump way down here. This shouldn't be here. Now, see how it kind of goes like this? That's not how the figure is shaped. So that's what I wanted to correct here. And also, the shoulder blades are way too high. The shoulder blades exist like down here more, like right here. This is like where your shoulder blades are going to exist more. Right. Anyway, that's a different part of my anatomy course, but I just wanted to show that that's incorrect there and where they should be. All right, let's go back over here to the figure I'm working on now. So to turn this into the back side, just keep in mind that the buttocks hang a little bit lower than the crotch. So the crotch is here. That would be from the front end. From the back side, the buttocks actually hang down a little bit lower than that. So just draw the buttocks coming in right about here. Right? So it's not too much lower. It's just barely a little bit lower. And depending on what kind of character you're drawing, you can draw different types of buttocks. Now the buttocks only go up so high to this where you have that bikini line where I showed you before, that where the low rider bikini line was. Okay, I'm not wearing my glove here. I need to put my glove on. It only takes a second. I just use these like those thin stretchy gloves you can buy for like $1 at the Dollar Tree. You can also buy them for cheap at Walmart. I buy those that have the 3 fingers for like phones and stuff like that are available. And I just wear my right hand anyway. That way my right hand doesn't move stuff around. Only my left hand I can move stuff around because it's touchscreen. The Cintiq 13 Touch. Right, so right above that line, that halfway point we talked about before, when you take this where the belly button would be and you take that shape, that skirt shape, and divide that in half. When you divide that in half, that's where you get that, the fat humps right there, right? That same place, if you imagine just a little bit above that, is where you're going to have the dimples. So the butt crack is going to kind of come up to that area, the top part of the butt, like this, depending on how much fat buildup they have. And then if they're skinny enough, you'll see little dimples right here. These are where these 2 little dimples are, and I forget the part of the skeleton that makes those dimples, what it's called, but anyway. They're like right about like that, right about there. And then you have the beginning of where you can actually see the spine, usually right about here, like so. And then when you draw the back end, just keep in mind that a mannequin has the triangle shape. So have these triangle shapes right here that represent kind of like where your shoulders are going to be. And remember, right there where the triangle connects with the ribcage, there's a little bit of skin right here, and that just goes right down like this. So this becomes the mannequin shape like that. And then you can have your shoulder come off here and do your basic mannequin shape for the arm, like so. Like that. So that's how it would look from the back, and you have a little bit of skin overlapping the arm itself because the arm's going in front. And that's just the mannequin shape. We're not getting into the anatomy right now. Let's go ahead and erase this, a little bit of this up here. Now the scapula, again, you're going to see the major part of the scapula is going to come right at that cross section where you have these, where you have the arm and that crossing. Or you can go, well, let's take this and divide it like into thirds. There's 3 different pieces here from the back of from the lowest part of the neck to that division part that we talked about last time, where you have the thinnest part of the female body right here. And remember, that's just a little bit below the elbows, as I showed you before how to get that measurement. If you take it that way, then it's that third line up there I'm talking about. If you divide it in 3 lines, right about there is where you're going to see the middle of the scapula. So if the scapula kind of looks like that, that's that one bump that sticks out like that, and then it comes down. And depending on how the arms are shaped, you'll have the scapula will move. Right, so that's about where the scapula is at. So if you just want to have some placement for the scapula. The next thing is the things are the same from the back. You have your love handles right here. And then you have the back part of the legs and the same second hump. So it's the same as from the front and the back end. And this is actually separate from the buttocks and comes down like so. Right there to part of the leg. And the buttocks, the buttock muscles kind of come down and connect like over here like that. But we don't see that part. What we see is a fatty tissue connected to it. And sometimes maybe there's an extra line right here coming off the butt, depending on how thick, how much fat the person. This is a thinner person here, so we don't see that. Now, this is important too. You have this piece of fat that comes out of the leg right here, and it comes down like this. And I recommend drawing this basic shape for your mannequins, just so that you know that they're supposed to be there anatomically. It's a good time to start learning that. Sometimes for mannequins, I teach to kind of draw this kind of shape, kind of like this here for the calf muscles. Right, and so that's how you properly would draw the back side of the body. And then you can draw, like I said, different kinds of butts, and of course giving the butt some sort of lighting system here. Let's say it's kind of like this here. Will help bring out the butt a little bit, and we'll have a little bit of shadow underneath here like that. And then I'm going to have the lighting basically coming from the right hand side, so I'm going to have, there's going to be all this kind of lighting up here, covering part of this right here, kind of going like that. I'm trying to follow the anatomy in my head here. And so kind of come like that and fall up in the scapula. I'm just doing this very quickly here. More of like a comic book rendition of it. And then you're going to have this, it's not going to come like this in this case when there's a side view, but it's actually going to have the opposite kind of look like this on the sphere. And I know that seems odd, and then the leg is actually going to come back and do the opposite way like this. This knowledge will come with experience and a lot of life drawing. And even just setting up girlfriends, whatever friends that are willing to do it for you. Models, basically, you're looking at models online in different lighting, but it's good if you can do it yourself, because then you can set up the exact lighting situation you want. In this case, have the light come directly from the right hand side. And this is to kind of make the shape like this right here. And to come down the rest of the leg. And that kind of brings out the buttocks. You can see now the buttocks look like they have more shape to them just by adding that. And you would actually be able to see a little bit of the panties in the front here, like so. And it depends. Maybe you might not be able to. It all depends on the person and how wide their legs are up. In this case, you might not actually see it, so I probably shouldn't have drawn it there. But okay, now once you understand that, we can see the problems with this over here. So what the person needs to do, what the student needs to do, is take this here and this here, which they've already done, and divide that in half. They come right here. They know the rib cage is going to come a little bit past that part, so kind of come right here, like a V kind of shape, and come right past that part just a little bit. And then from there, you're going to have this shape here. Actually, it's going to be higher than that. This shape here, I meant, as if it's from the front side. And then from that, you're going to draw your buttocks. So that part's all fine, but the leg needs to come out here. The whitest part needs to come out here more, that fat tissue, and then come down. Now, when you're doing the mannequin, you don't have to actually have the 2 lumps of fat like I did here. For the mannequin, you can literally just have it be one shape right there. You'll know from later on from doing anatomy that you can draw it differently. when you're doing the mannequin. Besides, when you're doing mannequins, the whole part is to get a quick 3D shape and do it quickly and right away. I'm going to do a bright color here so we can see this. So it should come out here just a little bit wider. So make all this right here a little bit wider at the widest part of the leg. Come out just a little bit. I would just get used to start doing this. I know I haven't learned this yet, but it's not. That's part of the anatomy. Just remember that it's shaped like that. And then you have the buttocks, placed correctly. So I'm just going to place them right back in there. You just didn't have the right here wasn't out far enough. Right here, I'm gonna try to point to it like that. See right there, that wasn't out far enough. So if I take my eraser tool here, I can show you how much farther I put it out, as you can see there. So I put it out quite a bit more ways where you had it right about here like this. And so I put it out further. Now that looks kind of strange though with how small the upper body is, so you don't have to draw it that big, but the idea is still the same. So I kind of went out a little bit too far, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase that here again. I should have just used white because I forgot that there's actually what I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm just gonna put white underneath here. That way it's the same color. There we go. Okay, so going back here to our drawing, we have this shape right here. So you shouldn't have that shape that you had before, but it should be like I've drawn it over here, like this here. So the shape basically should be straight like this. Don't come out like you did right here. You had this kind of shape like this right here. Don't do that. Imagine like a straight line from that triangle. You can almost have a straight line coming down. It kind of curves in and comes down like that. But once you have the shape of the rib cage, just have it come right down like that into the body, and then you know where the belly button is normally supposed to be, about this far down from the. You can almost cut this arm into thirds, and that's about the upper third, about where the belly button is. That is, cut the forearm into thirds. Once you know where the belly button is, then you know that's where that first, thicker part begins. And you can just draw from there and draw straight out like this here and draw that basic mannequin shape where the crotch is going to be the halfway point. And then from that, the buttocks are going to fit right into here about, you see about a little less than half of it will be below that line. And then have your lines come in this way like that at an angle. And there it is. So once you have that basic shape, now you have your backside mannequin drawn correctly. And you'll see that with yours. I'm going to go ahead and repaste yours here really fast. Right, so again, the places that you want to do is you want to make sure that you bring the scapula down. So follow this make this kind of area like this right here. Draw the rib cage in here. When you do, just remember the rib cage is going to come straight down like this here, a little bit past that halfway point that you have right there, and that's about where the belly button is going to be. And this is going to be your back shape right here. And then just know that you're going to draw the shape of. We'll just keep it the same whiteness. You have it right here. That's that mini skirt kind of shape. You're going to divide that in half. That's going to give you the part where if you wanted to have the little indents coming above that. So you notice how you have this, I'm going to color in green, this whole area right there sticking out on each side. That shouldn't be there. So that's giving it this very strange look. That's the main thing that you did incorrectly, is just having these lines come out like that. Instead, they should follow like this green line and come in here, and then come back like that. So you have that same shape as the front end. Then from there, draw your buttocks coming like this. And if you do that, then you'll have that better looking backside figure. And that's pretty much it. And then just remember that you have that, if the shoulder blade should come down like this, a little bit farther. And then there you have it. And just remember you have these triangles right here, which you have, they're just invisible. I'm just putting them back in there. And that's where you remember, that's how you have that overlapping of the fatty tissue that's right here that comes down like that. So I just kind of come here and it comes right down like this. Boom. Right now, really quickly, while we're going through this, I just want to kind of go through this front view here. So definitely looking way, way better. Just keep in mind that when you're drawing the mannequin, I would actually draw it like this here. And one thing to keep in mind is you have this, okay, you have the, when you have the rib cage in here coming down, like you have it. We know the belly button's going to be, right about here. Imagine that halfway shape here between here and have that halfway line. And that's where that beginning, you'll have that first indent right here, and it'll come out again. Again, this isn't important for the mannequin part. And so this is where our mini skirt shape is. I'm just drawing that in there. So when you have all this figured out, you have this upper area right here, where this big triangle area right here that I talked about before, coming off the rib cage. That triangle shape in there is very important, because that's when you have this triangle, that's where you have this shape right in here that the breasts aren't going to be at. This is like a flat plane. And so you're correct there. You have the breast where the breasts don't fit. I'm just going over this really quickly for people to see. But the armpit actually comes down a lot further. It comes down right about where the breast starts. So if you have this measurement right here, right, just kind of memorize that measurement. You can think of, if you want to measure it perfectly, you can keep coming down with that exact same measurement and divide pretty much that part into 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. So from here to the bottom or the top of the collarbone, bottom of the neck, divide it into 5 equal parts, and that's how you know about, it. Just if you want to basically train your brain to memorize this exact distance. That's where the armpit should actually start, right here. So your deltoid muscle connects from here, from part of the collarbone, out over to the middle of the arm. And that's what gives that shape, and that's where your armpit's going to be. So just remember that the overlapping skin is way too high where you have drawn it. So I would draw it down here, lower right here, like that. And you have the arm come like this, and then down like that. So I would take it, take the shape. I would start changing the shape of your arms a little bit to match more like this over here. Have it match that front end how I did in the green. So notice all this right here, you can take away, minus that for the shape. When you imagine the breast connecting right, starting from right here, imagine how gravity works. Imagine you have this rib cage, it's a roundness that they're sitting on. So imagine from the front, from a top view or something like that, you have the rib cage, right? And you're looking at it like this. So you're looking at the person as if they're almost like invisible, and this is the rib cage right here, and this is the back side of the rib cage. You can see their spine, everything in here. You can see whatever. Their breasts are fitting on top of the rib cage. So when it does, it's fitting like this, right here and right here. Well, what happens is gravity pulls the breast down right here like this. So it ends up having a shape kind of like that. Unless they, have non-realistic breast implants that keep them from doing this. And there are realistic breast implants that won't do that. So like that, right? And then the nipples are going to be right about here and right about here. If you imagine that from the underside view, then keep in mind how the breasts fit on the body in this front view as well. So you're going to have this kind of shape. They won't be this far apart, right? So there is a space between breasts. Sometimes breasts will slide and fall that far apart. But imagine you have this shape right here, this like triangle shape that you're fitting the breast into. I would draw my mannequin like this, come like that, and then have these be a little bit closer, and then draw it coming like this, right? So that's kind of like the shape, and make sure they're kind of closer together. And they are coming at an angle, like so. You want to kind of pull that underside like that, because it's resting on the rib cage, and then you have that armpit piece coming off right here, and then the arm right here, and shoulder should be down here more. This right here will be that piece of skin that comes up between the breast. Depends how big the breasts are, they can actually take up bigger parts of that. But anyway, I just wanted to show you pretty much have the fin down already. I would just maybe tweak the breasts a little bit, the shape of them just a little bit. The lines, you never draw lines all this far up when you're drawing the breast. So if I would draw a breast, and I would say I have my rib cage here, it's coming down. I have that basic shape. And I have the basic mini skirt shape here, and coming down for the knees, coming off from my calf muscles, so forth. When I'm going to draw the breasts in here, oops, I don't know why I went so crazy with that one. I'm just going to try to add a neck and stuff so you guys see kind of like what part of the body I'm drawing from. The basic. There's a halfway point there, a little below that, right here, the biggest part, thinnest part, thickest part down here. Alright, now when I draw the breast onto, there's a sternum here, that's why you have the breast. So they're going to fit. Remember we have that top part where there's going to be a flat plane. So the breasts start from right here. They're going to kind of, depending how big they're going to droop down like that, because remember that shape. This is the shape you want to kind of get, one way you can kind of see the shape is take a larger container. Let's say, first off, take 2 water balloons and fill them up with water. Make sure they're not too big. And when you have the water balloons will be like this. And then tie them together right here. There's 2 water balloons. Tie them together with string right here, or just hold them with your hand. And then, I don't know how my hand moved that, but because I have gloves on. They're supposed to not touch the screen. Anyway, take a pitcher of some sort, something kind of large that's cylindrical shaped. One thing that would work great would be like a pitcher for like a gallon pitcher you'd buy at Walmart for like Kool-Aid or lemonade or whatever else you want to put in it. And take the balloons and set them on top of this like that to where they're, coming to the side. And then kind of like let them sit with their weight. Kind of hold the ends maybe over the end right here. So from the side view, you'd be having the balloons come inside of that's part that ties on, and the balloons are going to sit. This is from the side view. The balloons are going to sit on like this. See how they sit on the cylinder, and when you see that and how the balloons kind of fit onto the cylinder, you'll get a better idea kind of how the overall shape of the breast should be on a cylinder. And from the front, and then look at it from the front view, from the side view, and different views to get an idea. These are obviously, really, really large breasts, so obviously this is how large you have to draw breast. Sometimes I'll draw super large breasts, sometimes I'll draw normal sized breasts. It just depends what I'm drawing and what mood I'm in. But there you have it. So that would make a difference, and then your mannequin would kind of look like that right there. Of course, you can have it more basic or less basic. I like to usually have my mannequins kind of have that shape in there just to remind me. You can have the knees, where the knees are going to be, and coming down with the legs. Right, so there you have it, and then you're going to have your head fit in like so. Another problem I noticed that people have a hard time with is how, notice your head here. If you take the height of your head right here, pull that aside, and you want to cut that in half exactly. Take that right here, this is the length now of it being in half, and this is going to be the width, the whole entire width of the head. So if I take that shape and I turn it, I don't think it'll allow me to turn this thing. Yeah, it will. So if I turn it like that, this is actually going to be the entire width. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's move this. There we go. That's going to be like the entire width of your head. So you take your head and you divide it in half. Let's go ahead and do this. So take your head, divide it in half. That length right there, that's how wide the head's going to be. So if I take that length and divide it in half like this, just imagine it, I have, these same lengths. So I have that length over here. That's how wide my head's going to be. So basically, if I take it and I just cut off right here and like right there, cut off that I have in solid green, cut that off, and what's inside white there is more the shape of the actual head. then of course, and that's considering, of course, that if it's actually correct with the 8, if you have 8 heads long here, and you divide all that perfectly, then you'll get that shape of the head. Notice how my head here is very narrow, and it's tall, and it's going to be pretty much where I want it with the 8 heads. After a while, you kind of get a feel for it. You can start from any part of the body, and like I did here, and then end up with some full figure. But yeah, just keep that in mind. That's how you get the width of the body. It's also how you get the width of the head. It's half of the head. So if I'm drawing a head, I'm like, hey, I want my head to be, I don't know, let's say this big here. This is ultimately how big I want my head. Then I take that height here. I can divide that in half and go, okay, well, that's how wide right there my head needs to be. So I take that width right there. I can measure it out with my pen and pencil. One trick, you can't see me doing this, but put the tip of your pencil right here, and then use your thumb at the bottom mark. I'm doing this right now with my pen. And hold it there, and then turn it sideways. And you'd have that whole entire, that size right about there. And I can just carry that size over on both sides here. That's how I get the overall shape of my head. And I know it seems crazy when you draw it this way at first, but remember the hairline is part of your head, and your ears are going to stick off of that. And so as you begin to, your eyebrows and so forth, and then the nose, and you might have your mouth here, depending on how big the face is. You're going to come down here, you're going to change the shape of the jaw a little bit and so forth. Right, so we're just kind of doing like a male type basic shape here. Right, so once you have, we can give him some kind of messy hair. Yeah, he didn't brush his hair today at all. Right, so there you have it. We give him decent sized neck, not too big, not too small. Like that, and that would be typically how you do it. I might have messed with those measurements a little bit, but that's typically how you get the width of the head. It's pretty close to how tall it is. That's how wide it is. It's half the length that it is tall. This is kind of a taller head though. So if I were to take those measurements exactly, let's say here and here, and I want to take that exact measurement, and let's go ahead and actually what I'll do is I'll make a square. We'll do exactly. So I'll make a square here. Make a perfect square. Bam. Make a new layer just to prove the point. We're gonna stroke this outline selection. I'll make that with like number 4. Now I can just copy that shape. Bam. And then if I already know how wide it is, it's as wide as it already is, right? So it's already supposed to be as wide as it is because we have half, and that same half is a perfect square, so it's basically 2 squares on top of each other. And if you have those 2 squares on top of each other, you have pretty much the shape of your whole entire head. So how this works then is your circle is going to fit into here. We're going to add this, we're going to come down here, we're going to add the jawline. Remember, a big portion of this is the hair, so the hair fits like out here. We're going to we'll draw this kind of hair or something like this here. Like so. And so when I take this then, have that halfway dividing mark, I personally like my face is more, this is like a realistic face, but I like my face is more cartoonish. I would actually lower my hairline here even more. Let's go ahead and make the hairline even shorter. And then I would have my eyebrows, let's say if my eyebrows are here, what I like to do is I like to go, okay, where is my face going to be at? This is my circle for my face. And then I like to divide that in half. That's where my eyebrows are going to be, like up there. And then my nose will be somewhere around here. I have that nice small triangle, nice short wide triangle. If the triangle, when you connect the middle of the eyes, right, so my eyes are gonna be right here, like so. If I connect the middle of my eyes to the bottom of my nose and then draw a triangle between everything, if that triangle looks like this, I know I've gone of the long face. Now, there's nothing wrong with the long face. You can draw a long face, but if you want a nice, cute face, make sure that triangle is looking more like that. Almost like an equal-sided triangle, where everything's, you want more of a short, squat triangle than you do a fat triangle, or excuse me, a thin, long triangle. And then my mouth is going to fit in this area right here. Have her upper lip shaded in. A little bit of shade for her bottom. I can round this out and so forth, give her a thinner neck because she's a cartoon character and so forth. So as you can see though, that's how the head fits in there, and the ears actually fit outside of that, so I'm not accounting for the ears. The ears fit outside of, oops, make the ears a little bit too. They should go right where the eyebrows and nose are. That's right around where the ears should fit into. I would cover that up with a little bit of hair and stuff anyway. You get the idea? That green line is kind of blocking where my eyes would be. I'm just kind of draw them in solid colors, so you can kind of get an idea where it's at. Right, so I ended up talking about a lot more than I originally anticipated in this video, but hopefully you guys find it useful if you want to give her kind of that thinner looking face, right? So you can see though that that idea works. That includes the hair and everything, the whole entire head shape. Now it is a little bit shorter, a little bit wider than half the head. That's just a general guideline. But notice how I fit everything in there. And that doesn't include the ears, like I said. I fit everything in that shape and it worked out great. So you can work out different kind of faces within that head shape. I mean, if you just, when you have that long, narrow head shape right here, at first it just seems wrong because it's, look at, when you carry this over here, and you have this, this long, narrow head, this kind of shape right here. At first that doesn't seem, it doesn't seem right at first. But when you realize that a lot of that's accounting for hair, and then you're actually going to be drawing your circle for the face right around here, then all of a sudden that shape starts to make sense. It works. But yeah, so it's just including the hair and the height of the hair. But you don't have to draw that way. You can just draw an oval that fits closely to that. So what I would do is in this area, I would probably make it, if I was going to draw an oval, I would draw it like that, and then I would kind of taper it down if I want to kind of start getting the shape of a head here a little bit. And then I can cut that right in half if I wanted more like that. So it's a little bit wider, but anyway, it gives you a general idea, and you can work either way with it. You can work the way with it here, or just make it a little bit wider than it is half the length. But all right, so yeah, all that stuff about the head was probably kind of pointless, and well, not pointless, but it didn't need to be in this video, but hopefully someone found it useful. And hey, if you found this video useful, do me a favor. The best way you can help support my channel is by going to the like button and hitting a like button. That's not actually the best way. Actually, the best thing you can do is leave a comment. Anything, just saying, oh, thank you, or cool, or whatever. Just any comment at all is going to help the video reach more people. So go ahead and leave a short comment. It only takes a second. And if you have that extra time, you want to go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, or if you have even more time, want to hit that share button. That's super awesome. And share it on Facebook or wherever like that. That could be very helpful as well to help more people learn for free how to draw cool stuff. If you want to take it to a higher level, just go to masterpaintingnow.com. I have the link in the description of this video that takes you to my website where I have a bunch of courses on sale right now. Normally they're $100 to like $95. Right now they're on sale for $10 on my website. And so you click on those and that will take you to the sale page. Some of them are on sale for $12 and so forth. But yeah. That's it, guys. So thanks for watching, and share the crap out of the video.